the frugal journey, which a lot of people don't experience. The frugal journey is a journey of innovation. It's an art. Frugality isn't necessarily a choice or a decision, it's an art. And it can become a really fun thing, an inspiring thing, and a thing that actually gives you joy. Hi, my name's Kayleen and welcome to the Urban Homestead Artist, where we are going to look into the reasons why growing things and creating a homestead, even in a very small setting, is really important and has become more and more important for more and more reasons for myself and my family. And today I've got a painting on the easel that I'll show you in a minute, because we'll be talking about this painting or talking about this person throughout this video to explain to you a bit about how I started this incredible journey, and I believe it will inspire a lot of people to get out there and take advantage of any land or any space that they have to grow more food. So before we start this story, I know I'm smiling now, but at the beginning of my story, I was not smiling. I was in a really troublesome place, as in I was really stressed about the future. And I was stressed about my future, about our financial future, the future of our country, prospects, everything. So the reason I started growing food was out of necessity. Both my husband and I had lost our businesses due to the absolutely brutal lockdowns in our state. We live in Victoria and it went on for 2 years and it destroyed hundreds of thousands of businesses amongst other things and lives. So we found ourselves in a position where we were having to pivot. My husband, fortunately, had been in the transition of training for another job, so he did get work, but I was left shell-shocked and tired, emotionally exhausted, and feeling pretty numb after the whole experience. I had a shop that I had signed a lease for a week before the lockdowns, and so I spent 2 years working like a dog trying to keep the overheads, just pay for the overheads. And I was exhausted from press conferences, the toxic, everything that was going on. So putting that aside, I ended up on the other side wondering how on earth are we going to move forward and what can I do to contribute now? Because I felt pretty useless. I felt like there was nothing I could contribute to the home. Everything had dried up, work had dried up, people were not supporting the business. I had a little bit of stock left over. It was hard to sell online, even through the marketplace. It was really tricky. So I said to my husband, I think we need to grow food. And that is the painting that I will show you quickly so you can see who I'm talking about. So here we go. This is a little painting that I did with my husband. It took 18 hours to do this painting. It's a little bit dull at the moment actually, because it needs to be varnished and then all the beautiful colours will come out. But this is my husband and he is the person I'm talking about right now. So I said to my husband, can I have the backyard? Now, our backyard had been used mainly for the boys. We have lots of kids between us. The two boys that were home had used that as everything from digging BMX hills and valleys and things. There was rubbish, there was knee-high weeds. The backyard was just woeful, and it was a place that I just did not even look at because it just would do my head in to even look at it. It was a place I had no part in and no control over, and it was just chaotic. Now, my husband had been inspired a couple of times to put vegetable gardens in, and had actually put 2 raised beds in there. He'd brought in soil, and inside the soil was oxalis. So we have forever since had issues with oxalis, which pretty much took over the backyard. And so it was full of oxalis, but there was 2 raised beds. And so he had planted them out with seedlings from Bunnings and done the thing. And he was usually inspired in the summer, and it was just before he would go away. And we were in a situation where I had to work and he would go away with the kids for a break. I'm a stepmum, and so him and the kids would go away and I would stay at home to work, and I would look after the garden. Then we got back, he'd get back, he'd lose interest. So it would just go to weeds again. So that was about as vegetable garden as we got here. So those beds were there, and I had those raised structures, if you like, that I could use. There was a wood frame over the bed, but that was deteriorating, so that needed to be taken down. Having this space gave me the opportunity to think about how we could better use it. And he did say to me, "Yep, babe, you can have it, all yours." And I said to him, "Well, I will need to be able to, like organise it so it works." And he goes, No, you be boss lady, you just go on, and if you need something, I'll build it for you or whatever. So the things that I couldn't do, I could ask him for. Now, I am very cautious about doing that because he is busy and he has his own interests, and I don't like to ask him to do anything unless I really do need it. I try to be as resourceful and independent as I can in that way, and I am pretty good at making a lot of things for myself. I can do that. But in saying that, I actually thought it was going to be a project that we were both had an interest in. That's a story for another video, but that space gave an opportunity to dream a dream and to be inspired to move forward. It gave hope and a situation where I could move forward and just do something, and even if it was a little something. Now, the finances were really tight, as I mentioned, so I was very scared about spending any money, so I was very hesitant about what I bought and tried to buy the bare minimum. I had grown a vegetable garden many years ago that was prospering just before I had a tragic life event. And I haven't had a garden really since. I've had a garden, but not a vegetable garden since. That has got to past setup stage. So this is my opportunity to do that. And what I didn't realise was later on, after I had done that I was further into that and I was starting to produce things and harvest things and that, it was amazing how I realised it was part of me returning. It was something that was innately me that I loved to do. And I think for a lot of people that is so. And I think for a lot of people that haven't gardened yet or done that yet, it is so, and they don't realise it, because there is a thing about gardening and connecting with the soil and the plants and the birds and the bees, and I talked a little bit about that in the previous video, that does something to you that's a positive thing, and I think it's meant to. So I started the garden, I started very frugally, and the journey has been about doing it frugally, and it's become a journey that has prospered me and my household in ways that I did not realise. So it has been challenging at times, but it has created scenarios that I didn't expect. And that's what I would like to share with you over the videos more specifically, so that they can help you too in that journey. So I was like, I need to grow food, to put food on the table, I need to contribute, and I need to create the food so we have the provision, right? So that was the simple why at the beginning. What I didn't expect, it became something completely different, and I am in no way saying because I'm on YouTube this is becoming that. that is not it. It became something personally different and fulfilling and healthy, and prospered in a very different way, particularly the frugal journey, which a lot of people don't experience. The frugal journey is a journey of innovation, and it's an art. Frugality isn't necessarily a choice or a decision. It's an art, and it can become a really fun thing, an inspiring thing, and a thing that actually gives you joy. So that is what I have discovered as far as frugality in this journey. I was forced into this situation. I had to do it this way, but in doing this way, it became a very special thing and a very good thing to share. And that's what I want to share with you guys. So I started with a no-dig garden. I started with seeds because seeds are cheap, and they're the cheapest way to grow. And I made myself learn how to do that by researching, and I started cheap because I used YouTube. I used YouTube to learn and discover what was true and wasn't true about growing, and was willing to take the time and willing to fail to find the results that worked for me. And what the results that don't necessarily work for someone else, even if they're in your area, may not work for you, and vice versa. So it's important to understand the journey of it and have the courage for the journey and have the innovation along the way and the excitement and the joy. It's not about the result. The result is important, but it's not about the result. So I did no dig, I resourced free things, I repurposed or spent less on things and did it up, fixed it up, improvised. Like I said, repurposed, used one thing that was used for one other, it's meant for one thing to be used one way, and used it a different way for a different thing. Started to think like that, what can I use that I've already got or I've got access to or is free around me, and did that. And I basically created this little system where I was focused on, not on pauper spirit, not on that pauper mentality, but on making the most of what you've got and celebrating the fact, and even yahooing at, like, I did that thing, like I got that and turned it into that, and now I have that, and that answer has been answered and that solution has been solved because I was willing to wait, or I was willing to research, or I was willing to do with less. And that's okay, that works. I don't need that more. And when you discover that you don't need that more, you want less, and you're more satisfied, and you're more appreciative, and the journey changes for you. So the next part of the story is how that happened, and some of the steps that I took to make that happen, and some of the exciting discoveries and the things that I created out of nothing. And I'm not saying this because I'm so fantastic. I'm saying this because I'm excited for possibilities for you and for other people who don't have access to everything, who don't have a lot of money to just, call somebody up to have them create it for them and then get to play in that space. You can create so much out of very little. And as you do that, you save on the back end, and then you're able to spend a little bit more and a little bit more, because you'll have that provision, or that, those funds that would normally go this way, didn't go this way, and you'll have them for something else, or you might need to spend them in another area. But that's what frugality does. It's about using what you've got, not wasting, and saving what you save for the things that matter. So does this mean you're not going to see me in the garden anymore, working through all the things and showing you propagation, all the rest of it? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But I'm going to share a bit more broadly the inspiration behind it, and I am going to be sharing you just a little bit more from the studio, or the creative projects now that are coming up, so that you haven't seen a lot of them at all on the channel. But the things that I make out of nothing, the things I create from old things and refurbish and that, I'm introducing that into the channel because that's the stage I'm at. I have built a certain amount in my yard, a certain amount of provision, if you like, and now I'm still growing that and I'm still maintaining and tending to that, and I'm still fighting the weeds and all of those things, but I am focused on beautifying my space too. I spend most of my time in that space, and so now I'm focusing on beautifying that space, and that's one way to do it. You can create the most absolutely beautiful things for your garden and your home with very little money. And I have done it before with furniture, and beautified my home like very frugally, and you would not know it. So I'm now going to step out into the garden to do that, and I will share a little bit about what I've done in the home too, so that you can kind of see what's possible in there too. So thanks for joining me, and I hope this blesses you and you're inspired, and we'll see you in the next part of this series. And happy gardening, happy life, and see you next time.